All right, we'll go ahead and get started on time. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for attending after lunch. What I kind of hope we could do really quickly is go around, and if you would just say your name and what school and what discipline. This workshop is kind of designed for people who are more new to online teaching, and one thing I find is that people like to talk to each other when they're new to online teaching, and so you might hear of somebody who's in your discipline and you didn't know, or they're sitting in the room with you, you might want to share ideas. So just real quick, if we go around and do that, and then I'll introduce myself a little bit more after that. So we'll go start over here. Great. 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 Wonderful. We'll go to the back. Nice.
I mean, the broad-based student services for online service deliveries.
Great. Welcome.
My name is Susanna. I teach theater. Your interest here, your appreciation,
Great.
But I'm still looking to how I can incorporate
Nice. Go to the back. Welcome. Welcome. Excellent. Nice.
I'm Sharon Collins. I teach English at the Valley College, and I also teach English at High School.
Great.
I'm Stacey Hunt. I will be teaching my first online class in January at City College.
Excellent. And before I jump to the middle of the room, this is also online, and I want to encourage the people who are attending this virtually to introduce themselves in the chat room, in the text, so that they can kind of connect with each other too. I'm trying to walk around so that maybe some of this is picking up, but I'm guessing it probably isn't all. So.
I'm Nancy Estes, a teacher on City College and also at Norfolk College. I teach vocal music and appreciation.
Excellent.
I'm Ann Sugars. I teach at Harvard Community College, which is in Maryland, and I teach economics.
Great.
I'm Steve Lincoln. I'm from Sierra College in Northern California. I teach business law, product examination, for instance, virtualization.
Cool. Fine. Excellent.
I'm actually not an instructor.
Great.
I am Daisy. I also work in the education center at my current software, and I learn how to support students who do online courses.
Great.
My name is Angela Rose, and I teach at Openended College, and I teach English.
Excellent.
My name is Judy Crozier. I teach English at Captioning College, also in the College Center. I also teach online at University of Montana at Blackboard College. And this is all teaching at
Awesome. All over.
Hi, I'm Cindy. I teach here at Blackboard College, Business Department, and Economics.
Welcome.
My name is Willa. I teach here at Blackboard College, Computer
Great.
Hi, I'm Dina. I teach business applications at Community College. I have a partner.
Oh, see, this is how we do this. Great. Well, welcome everyone. I think that was a good use of 5 minutes so that hopefully you maybe heard your discipline, you might chat later and during refreshment time after this. So.
A couple of seconds from online.
Sure.
So we have Anne from CSU Stanislaus, teaching her first online course in advanced accounting. Belinda Goodwin from El Camino College, Florence in the Fashion Department, transitioning from face-to-face to online in the fall of this past 2012.
Great. Thank you. And my name is Laura Pechorik, and I'm at Miracosta College, and that's who I'm here representing today and my work that I do there. I also teach a class at San Diego Miramar College face-to-face. But the reason I'm here for Miracosta is because I also am a part of the program for online teaching at Miracosta College, which is basically a bunch of faculty who get together and volunteer their time. And we run a small MOOC and do a bunch of other stuff that's professional development related. And we have people from all around the world participating in it. And so I've been a part of that program. I was in the first cohort that kind of graduated or got their certificate. And now there's been several other years going through, and I'm kind of part of the leadership of that. And I'm part-time faculty, and my main job is actually staff at the Child Development Center. I teach child development. And so as part-time faculty who's bouncing around, and you know, I don't have to do as much flex or even any in some cases as full-time faculty, I'm always looking for simple things that I can do that don't cost me money. You know, really, I don't want to spend my own money if I don't have to. And I try to look, it's kind of almost a little hobby of mine. When there's some really cool thing to do that faculty are doing online, I try to find a way to do it or mirror that experience as close as I can without using, you know, like the big technology. Try to find a simple way to do it. The things that might already be built into your courses, you know. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about Blackboard today just because that's what I do use at both of the colleges where I work. But I'm finding a lot of them, Moodle, whatever it is that you're using, are having a lot of similar features. And even campus to campus, sometimes it's different what's even offered in Blackboard. So you might have to do a little investigation on your own once you're back at your college or your organization to see what kind of really is being offered, or if some of these things are built in or not, or what have you. So that's a little bit about me. If you have questions or anything, I'm kind of hoping this can be a little interactive too. And what I will try to do is if there's questions from in this room, I'll repeat them as best as I can so that the people online can hear them and know what we're talking about. So I'll try and just kind of paraphrase as much as I can. And if we do finish, what I did was I made this presentation and I just put in what I wanted to put in. And if I do finish a little bit earlier, which is I'm kind of hoping we can just talk because I think some of the best ideas come from what you all have to share. And it's not really what I am here to tell you specifically. But it's just to get you thinking, kind of like the keynote this morning. Lots of things to get you thinking. And so we can talk hopefully at the end if there's time. So it's simple ways to reach more students. That's really what it's all about. Oh no, please. Thank you for doing that. I didn't even think about it. Sorry. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some survey data that I got from my students the past 2 semesters that relate to ways that I reach them. It's not representative, and we can talk a little bit about that because it's just my class and I teach one online class each semester. And so, but I think their voices, I wanted them to be heard and give you ideas of things you can ask your own students. And then you can think, ooh, is this true for my students too? I'm going to talk a little bit about learning modules that I've set up for my students and the variety that I include in those. Ways to connect and personalize, because it's about reaching students. So I'm going to have a little bit about that and how I do that and connect with them. And the theme throughout is really going to be consistency. I think that's one of the best ways to reach students, more students, is to have consistency in what you're doing, like first of all. And then if you can brainstorm with people in your discipline, in your department, and you have consistency between all of you too, in some ways, it doesn't have to be everything, but just I think it makes students connect even more. And so just some ideas, some things I've been thinking of. Please, like I said, share, ask questions. Okay, so this past semester in the spring, I surveyed my students And I presented this survey outside of my course shell. I emailed them separately. It wasn't through Blackboard or anything like that. And I said, hi everyone, I'm doing this survey and I just want to hear from you what you think about online in general. So I knew it was to give feedback about online learning in general and not about my specific class, because a lot of them have taken other online classes and I wanted them to talk about those classes too, and not just mine. Although, did all of them do that? Probably not, right? So that's okay. But I had about 22% of the class respond, which is not a lot, but 8 people did respond, and so I want to share what they had to say. And then I'm going to talk about another survey I did where there's also false, so there's a little bit more people in that one. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this was the email that I sent out to them. Basically, I said this survey does not impact your grade. You don't have to do it. You won't get a higher grade, a lower grade, anything. I wanted them to know, like, no risk involved with this, and everything's anonymous. I have no way of knowing who took the survey. I did it through Google Forms. And you know, I told them that they have an opportunity to tell other faculty members and individuals who are interested in online teaching about their experiences. Like, I wanted them to know it's for everybody and not just for me. And so I'll share a little bit about their voice. And I told them I'm coming here to present, and that's why I'm doing this. So I made a very simple survey. I gave them opportunity to speak openly, but also rate things. And 1 was not helpful, and 5 was extremely helpful for the beginning part. And to make it simple, I just kind of clumped their responses. The most helpful things, the things that got between like a 4.5 and 5 stars, or rating of 4.5 to 5, were when I provide, or any instructor provides, written text responses on graded work, choices in the discussion boards, and quizzes that provide instant feedback. So when I do discussions each week, they don't have to only write on one topic. They usually have an option. Or they can choose what role they want to take sometimes. Like I teach child development, so they could pretend to be a teacher, a parent, a principal, administrator, director, whoever, a child. You know, so I like to try and give them choices of things that they can do in the discussion board. And they like choices. And that, I think, makes sense, because students do like choices. I think even when it comes to assignments, they like having a choice of kind of what to, you know, what to do. So the quizzes provide instant feedback. I set them up ahead of time so that when they get things incorrect, it doesn't tell them the correct answer. It tells them where to go find information and what they need to learn more about and take it again. You know, so they like that a lot. And they like the quizzes. I've always gotten consistent feedback on that, but not necessarily on this, you know, from semester to semester. So I just did a little screenshot here of, I use Turnitin for their written work, not necessarily to catch people who are plagiarizing, although I can use it as a helpful, you know, a tool to kind of teach them more about how to write, you know, more effectively and professionally. But also because you can do text comments on the side, and you can highlight things and put these little blue bubbles, and or even just write with text on their papers, just like you mark up any other paper. It's through Grade Mark on Turnitin. I love it. Students do like this a lot. Comment? Okay, so the new Blackboard does, and they just rolled that out, and I'm not teaching in the summer, so I haven't gotten to try it. So there's lots of this, whatever way you can do this for them, they do like the written feedback. And so those were things that they really enjoyed. Any questions or comments on that part? So the new Blackboard does have something like that, which is great. I'm excited to try that out. So that was most helpful. Yes. Blackboard 9, new Blackboard. 9.1? Okay. Yes. So the question for those online is when, and for those of you in here who couldn't hear, for the quizzes, is it that I tell them where to go find the answer or what have you? I base the quizzes on a variety of things, and what sometimes I'll say is you definitely need to go read this section again because there's something you're missing from it that's important, and I want to make sure you know it. In child development, I mean, there's classes they take because they're going to work in the field and the state requires it, you know, kind of thing. So sometimes they just kind of have to know, and want to make sure that they know where to find it and how to learn it, or go back and watch this video again because I think you missed a key important point, you know, about children's thinking or whatever it may be. So I don't necessarily tell them the answer, and they do like that, and I see them take it over again. So the things that received, like, just kind of helpful. I think 4 is still good. You know, that's a good you know, measure. But between 4 and 4.5 are audio messages that accompany text in the class. They like audio messages. Whenever I write, I like to try and have myself talking too. Video clips, they like. Discussion boards. Self-reflections, like journals, self-reflection and planning assignment that I do. I have them do that very early on in the class where they have to reflect on how they've done in the first couple weeks or week, or if it's a short session, and what they're going to do the rest of the semester to either improve or use their strengths, you know, that kind of thing. And then audio messages on graded work was slightly lower than the written responses on my graded work, right? So they like the written text. And because what I would also do and turn it in is they have a little record button now where you can record up to 3 minutes. And I would literally just scroll through their paper and talk about it to them and record myself talking. And so I would, you know, and I said if anyone can't do the audio or doesn't want the audio, let me know. You know, I always have the written also. I do both on all the papers. So they like the audio but not as much as written, which is interesting. And this is just my students. Like I said, it's not always representative.
Is the audio allowed for closed captioning?
So on Turnitin it does not. Nope. And I asked specifically the distance ed coordinator, and he said that was fine. If any students requested that it's written out, you can do that for them. So just letting them know ahead of time. And it's not a required, you know, it's just me talking about it. So I'm happy to talk about it anyway for them. So, but definitely check into that. Yes? Yeah, and actually I didn't say which it is in my question. So, because the question for those online was video clips, is that me talking or are there video clips of other things? And I have both in my class, so it could be either. But they like video, you know, they find it helpful. So any kind of video. If you're not ready to put yourself out yet, you at least could put some videos out there that are captioned that you can find, you know, that are open for you to use. Any other questions on the helpful? Kind of interesting. And then moderately helpful, between 3.5 and 4 were written lecture notes. But it's funny because I have there's kind of like a side story to this, which I think is really interesting. And so what I do with the lecture notes is I write it like I'm just talking to them right now, right, in this classroom. They're all sitting here, and I write a conversation. I ask them questions in the lecture notes like I would here. Like, oh, what do you think about this? What is your experience then? Does it connect to what you're hearing right now? And so students do like them, but maybe moderately helpful. It's still better than 3, which was the middle point, but not as high as some of the other things. So it might help you prioritize. At least ask your students about some of these things and see what they like, and then it will help you prioritize what you put your time into, right? The nice thing about lecture notes is if they don't find them useful, okay, don't use them because they can read the book and do the other things too. They won't maybe just not use it as much. And once you have them, you just might have to change it a little bit, but you don't have to usually rewrite them tremendously semester to semester. You can, and sometimes I do, but there's a foundation there, right, of some things already put together for them. So any questions or comments on this? It's kind of interesting. I put it out in HTML and PDF for them. So least helpful for them were surveys I do. And you know what, part of it is possibly how I do surveys in the class. I generally make them optional and not a required part of their grade or anything like that. And so they might just not participate in them that much. But surveying them about what they think and then reading the survey results and talking about it was not necessarily really very helpful for them. Just the least helpful. Still just about a 3 though. So. Right. It was a way to kind of like get anonymous idea, because child development, there's so many opinions, right, which is so fun to talk about. Everyone has a thought. So it was a way to get opinions that are anonymous instead of discussion board, where it's kind of really, you could make an anonymous discussion board too, of course, but just a quick way to put out their ideas to each other. And they didn't find that as helpful. But that's, it's not like I won't do it because it helps some people. It's not like a one, like never do this, it's horrible. And it takes me like almost 0 time to do it. And if they read it, great. If they don't, that's fine to me personally. So I download the survey results out of the gradebook in Blackboard, and it's a big page, and I just copy it and put it into some like HTML or a PDF for them so they can just read it, the results. Because they'll have, you know, how many people agree or disagree, and even the open-ended stuff, it's all in there for me. But you can do Google Forms, you can do surveys in a lot of different ways. SurveyMonkey, there's many, many programs. So, I think we're doing pretty good on time. I was hoping to maybe not spend more than half on the survey stuff and get into the how-to stuff. Open-ended things, and I'm going to pull my phone open just because I have notes in the phone, so I don't want to try and like pull up notes on this. It's going to mess everything up. So I also asked them some open-ended questions, and like please just take a moment to write openly about the type or types of materials and experiences that help you learn the most in an online class. And I'm kind of chunking them for you. And these are not their exact words, right? I've just kind of chunked things based upon what they did right. They talked about instructor-created content, written lecture notes, and videos. So remember I said that written lecture notes didn't get as high, but they like it a lot because they talked about it really helped them. So it's not that it doesn't. It helps some people, but it just didn't rate as highly as some of the other things, which I thought was really interesting. Videos were things that they liked that I created. They also talked about the setup, that it needs to be organized and easy to understand. And here's some of their exact words. Written lecture notes that accompany the textbook, which help to understand and further reflect on the assigned readings. So they liked reflecting on the readings. The written lecture notes really helped me out. The videos they talked about, the videos that offer closed captions. So they like closed captioning. We all do that anyway. Videos were helpful. And learning modules, organizers are just, that's all they had to say about that. And all materials are easy to understand. That's important to them, that all materials are easy to understand. Yes. I do a variety of things. Sometimes it's, I'm going to talk about how I do it and what I do in a little bit, but it's not me lecturing specifically. It might be going over like one piece of something, or just even welcoming them each week and telling them what to focus on, things like that. So I'll go over that a little bit more, but that's a great question. The question was, what if is it me lecturing in the videos? So for those online. They also talked about human factors, time and interaction. Specifically, the instructor response time was really important to them, they talked about, and that learning modules came early each week, which is actually kind of funny because I tell them the week starts on Monday, but I always post my learning modules like over the weekend, like on Saturday, because I just do, because why not? They're there, I'm ready to post them. But they think they're early. But I always tell them, no, it's always when I post it. You just don't really have to think about the class till Monday. Don't have to worry about it over the weekend. You know, you can start on Monday if you want. But they think it's early, so they like that because it gives them a couple extra days to work on things. And then they talked about learning material, and also discussions and reading what others have to say. So the interaction again was important. And then they talked about learning materials like quizzes and readings. And one thing was, they said thinking about how much data we pull from for each of the tests or quizzes, that's important. Like you're not testing on 5 chapters on one quiz. That's hard for them. They like it broken down was the comment. And just the readings were helpful, which could be almost anything. Readings in the book, readings on the website. Any questions or comments on this? Okay. So anything else? This is my favorite part. This is what they just wanted to tell everyone. There's a very small window of opportunity to really impact a student. These are their exact words. Picking course materials like videos or researching helpful websites for future use will be invaluable. This one's one of my favorites, and there's an asterisk because it gets longer. Choosing shorter, more abridged versions of these long textbooks would be much appreciated, and I think a better tool for learning. Be as detailed as possible in assignment guidelines or assignment descriptions. Okay, so that one gets even more fun. I enjoy reading more than watching the videos. The professor needs to be very hands-on. And teachers should consider including Turnitin.com directly on the page to prevent confusion and technical issues. So basically, I embed a link inside my learning module. They just click on it and upload their paper. They don't have to go to a separate course area to turn in their papers. That, I think, what the student meant. Any questions on that? I think this part's fun. So this was the side comments. Let's be honest, who really reads all the text? Not very many students, and I feel there's a loss of information and understanding about the course because of this. I would really like to see course textbooks have a complete overhaul. Anyone up for the challenge? I had to share that with you because maybe someone will take on the challenge. And as a student, I want to know exactly what a teacher is looking for without having to email question after question because the assignment description is vague. Very important to them. I think that's good feedback for all of us. And so pretty much everything seems to be helpful. Audio was higher than lower, so audio is important in video. Having choices mattered, and quizzes with instant feedback and written feedback on assignments really helps. So we like a lot of feedback. So the last thing, this will be really quick. I do instructor surveys each semester too. At the end of the semester, these are also anonymous, and I didn't do these for this presentation, but there's some interesting things. The spring was a short session. Fall is the same class, but it was full session. And I got more response in the fall, though, so that's why I wanted to include these responses. Yes?
Course evaluation, does anybody have positive experience or methods in order to get a greater response rate from their class?
I was just talking with someone in my field about they give extra credit if they get a certain response rate. Oh, so for the people online, they're talking about how to get a better response rate on surveys. So one instructor uses it as a multiplier on the final exam. One instructor gives extra credit if a certain response rate is reached in the class, like 50% or something like that.
Well, we were not able to do a evaluation survey. We've been receiving less than 7% response.
Mm-hmm.
Like 300 students every semester, and then one semester we decided to incentivize it.
So incentive.
So rather than just giving everybody one thing, which we had to do, find out the right.
They get in a drawing or something. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I think our institution has done something similar like that for some of the institution-related surveys. As an instructor, that I'm sure would be a tricky issue. But
oh yes, we had a 32 or 33%.
Is it donated? You found the $200 somewhere. So the questions on the other survey that were important are discussion boards added to my learning, having it in the module helps me stay organized, videos enhance my interest in learning, and written lectures assisted my learning. So the responses quickly on this were, in the fall, learning modules helped them the most, discussion boards, written lectures, and then videos. And then in spring, it was written lectures. Remember, they put that a little lower, but they really still like it. And different students may have responded on this too. Discussion boards, learning modules were tied, and then videos were a little bit lower. Videos were lower on both, which is interesting. I don't know, again, may not represent your students. So overall conclusions, fall did rate some things differently, so collect more data than just one semester, obviously, to find out what's going on with your students. Ask them early on in the class too, maybe. I think this gives evidence that variety is needed, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. And then the learning modules and discussion boards did receive consistently higher marks both semesters, which I think is important. So the overall conclusion to me is that we really, from all of these surveys that I pulled together, is that we need to use kind of this universal design approach, or I do, myself, I like to do that. And if you aren't familiar with universal design for learning, this presentation is on the portal, and all of these are links you can click on and it will open up for you. And there's a reference page at the end too with all of the resources on it that I have in here, so you can wait. But it's basically creating instructional goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone, not a single one-size-fits-all solution. Flexible approaches that can be customized and adjusted for individual needs, and a lot of that means variety. Survey your own students to see if this is true for them. Maybe your entire class just really, really loves the videos, you know, so you can spend your time on that. Learning modules I'm going to talk about as a framework for the rest of today, which we have about half the time exactly left, is they receive such a high mark each semester. So I want to talk about it as a framework for what we put inside. And so I'm going to show you kind of what's in my typical learning module and how I make the things that go in it. Does it translate into better learning and overall success? I don't know. That having everything in a module each week or however you time your classes, is that helpful for them? I don't know. I think they seem to think it is. So I don't know for your students if that's most helpful. So I'll show you a little bit what goes into the ones I do. And there's so many things you can put in that I don't have in here. So I'm not the answer. It's just the ideas. So every week, though, I have an overview. It's either video or audio, but I try to do video every week if it's a short session. Sometimes it's audio, but because I just have less time with them. So I try to, and it's so fast, try to get to them all the time. But I closed caption my video welcome, and if I do have it as audio, I write it also out as text for them so they can listen to it or read it, or both. I have then the list of readings and assignments right after that, and I copy it directly from the schedule. I have my written lecture notes after that, the videos, a discussion board, quiz with instant feedback, a written assignment. So this could be part of like a homework for the week, which would be small, like a journal maybe or something like that. Or if it's a big assignment due that week, I will probably not have a journal also. I would do more all quiz questions for them because they already are having something really big to turn in, because I have 3 really huge writing assignments in my class which are part of my student learning outcomes, which I have to do. And then optional discussions about surveys that I do or surveys themselves. Office hours I'll put in here as optional as well if I'm holding office hours, things like that. So those are just some of the optional things that I kind of will throw into there. Any questions or thoughts? Yes? Yes. Yes. I'm going to show you exactly how I do that in just a couple of slides. So I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you how I close caption the videos. And I have a bunch of links, again, which you can just download my PowerPoint and get all of these links. And I have tutorials that I've made on how I do it, so if you don't really pick it up, you can watch the tutorials over and over again, and it helps. So the videos I do in a bunch of different ways. I like to mix it up, variety. Extra normal, I don't know if any of you have ever tried that, but it's kind of fun. You can get a free educator account, and you type in your text, and then you pick a character to talk. And you can pick a voice and everything. And the nice thing about it is it makes captioning really easy because you've already typed out the text. So that's one thing left to do. It can take a little time to get used to, and it's fun. Students, I think, like it once in a while, probably not every week. Last semester, made one where I was an astronaut because I thought, and I start off with a joke like, oh, I know you can take online classes anywhere but on the moon, and whatever, just to get them like pulled in and thinking, so it's fun. I use screener.com. There's other ones too. Screencast-O-Matic. Somebody mentioned one yesterday in the workshop I was at. There's lots of screencasting options. And Camtasia is paid. You have to pay for it, which I have not done. I go to my college campus and use it there. If I want to do picture-in-picture, that's the easiest way to do it. But if you are okay without picture-in-picture, the other ones are free. And there's actually ways you could probably still do it. I tried it out once, so if your laptop or computer has a web camera, you could pull yourself up as a little just video and put it inside of your screencast and have yourself talking. Even that would be a free way to make it picture-in-picture, and it would work. It wouldn't look as great, but it's kind of option. And Screencast-O-Matic has picture-in-picture, I believe, as well. Yeah. 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 Oh, like my little head's in the corner talking. That's picture-in-picture. So I'm showing my screen, like, here's your assignment, or here, whatever. Here's something to look at, and I'm talking in the corner. And that's me. This is a capture of one of my videos that I made for my students, where I'm up here in the corner talking, and here I'm going through the module that week because there was a lot to do, or I just wanted to make them feel a little better about the week or whatever it was, or just help them know what's going on. That's one of my welcomes that I did. So to caption it, I type my notes, or I actually listen to my video and then type what I say, which takes some time. So I make small videos. And you can put it in any word processing program, or even an HTML program like Composer, which I'll talk about. And I use the free Subtitle Workshop, which I'll give you some tutorials about that in a second. Camtasia, if you do have it at your college campus, it can cost money. It does have a captioning feature built in. Some people pull the captions, auto captions, out of YouTube and edit them. I can't stand doing that. It takes me way too much time. It's easier for me just to type up what I said and caption it myself. Fixing the incorrect, it's just, I can't do it for myself. But other people do, so try it if you want to try it. So for some tutorials, there's 3 steps really to create a screencast using Screener and caption it and get it all into YouTube. And I've made tutorial videos on this. So if you can get to the presentation on the portal, you can just click on these links or copy and paste the URL into your browser, and you can watch me showing you how to do it. Because it really does take 3 steps. You need to first create the screencast using Screener or whatever, and then make the caption file in Subtitle Workshop, which is the free program, which I talked about, and then add the captions in YouTube, which just means uploading a file. It's pretty simple. Yes. Yes. Oh, I teach child development online, and yeah, so that's where I'm using how to make these videos. So this is a screenshot of Subtitle Workshop. It's free. Again, you can download it from, I think it's Rusoft is the company. And your video appears up here. Here's an extra normal I did. And then you type the text you're hearing down here, and it gets added onto here, line after line after line. So you would like listen to it, add the text, stop it, add another line. And it takes some getting used to, but I figured it out and no one taught me how. It's definitely doable. And there's a couple links also in the presentation and here about how to do that, how to add subtitle files in Subtitle Workshop or create them, and then how to create caption files. This one is a blog post that I wrote, and this one is an outside article. And I have the full references at the end of the presentation too. Any questions on that? Video stuff. Sure. Can you put a typewritten of what you want to say?
Say the words. Type them out.
Yes.
Can I type them out?
And then read it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But okay, but it wouldn't automatically say it.
If you use like a dictation service, you could do that. Like some people may use Drag and Dictate to capture their voice into text. That would be a great way to do it. I don't personally do that, but it's an option. And if you have Dragon, you could do that. And you can get it on iPad and iPhone, I know for sure, because I went to the workshop on that. So, and I personally like just talking and then typing it up later because I sound more natural, right? So I think that matters for connecting with students. A couple other things. If you just want audio and in text, you can use things like SoundCloud to do streaming audio for your students. where you create an audio file and then it just plays. They don't have to download anything. But I use voice authoring in Blackboard, and it's just record button, stop, and it's a little play, symbol at the end. And if you want to make it more personal, if you're only doing audio and text, it's a great way to start to get it more personal. You can put your picture next to it. I've done that before. So they just at least see it's like me. This is me talking. It's not me on a video talking, but it's me talking. So those are some options for just audio and text. Because they did like the audio. And not as much as some other things, but they do like it. Video, I think, was a little bit more important. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So this is what it looks like. There's a little play button over what I say, the words typed out. And I require them to listen or read or both is what I write. Listen to it, read it, or both. So the review schedule, I literally just copy and paste it from the syllabus. Here's what's this week. Week 2 begins, the reading is due, the work that's due, the assignment that's due. That's it. They like having that in the module. That's it about that. Lecture notes I put in 2 formats, HTML and PDF. It does not work to type things in Word and copy it into Blackboard. It looks terrible and it will make you stressed out because things change and it's very difficult. So I use a free program called Composer. It's an HTML editing program where you can type it up and then you can actually get the HTML code. But even if you don't do that, even if you just type it in Composer and copy and paste the text, it's cleaner, to be honest. So I use Composer for a lot of things now that I do that are email-based or web-based or anything-based. It's like kind of almost my favorite word processing program now. It's not even really a word processing program. Do you have I saw you nodding your... Yes. Yes. Composer. Use Composer because it's basically like an Adobe, one of those fancy Adobe programs, but it's free and it's much more simple and it's really easy. I love Composer. You can put internal links in there. I mean, there's so many things you can do with it that are advanced. Even to type in and copy over, I find it comes out so much cleaner for blog posting, anything. Yes. Right. Yep. 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 It's very easy. Yep. Me neither. It's very simple. Yeah, I tried using the Adobe one that we have installed at work, and it was way too much for me. So I went back to Composer, and I worked on that at home instead. And I also upload it as PDF for people who want to save it in their phone, like I did with my notes today, and read it on the go or whatever. And this is what it looks like, where the notes are in HTML, and then above it there's a file for the PDF. That's just a visual for you, so you can see what it looks like. The PDF lecture notes, I try to include a table of contents because it's easy to do. You just insert table of contents. And I use headings in the Word document, which is an accessibility thing as well. So it prioritizes, and I think that helps students a lot. It helps me, so I don't know about that. Another way to connect with students and make it more interactive is have a wiki for group notes, where you can just have a wiki in the learning module and say, hey, take your notes here if you're taking notes, and then share them with each other. And everybody can participate in making these notes. And you could use a Google document instead of a wiki inside of your LMS. That would be fine too. Whatever works for you. There's lots of ways to have that. Make it more interactive. Videos, I really encourage you to look for things that are already there. I find it as a hobby to look on YouTube for captioned videos that are of quality, but I also find a lot of great stuff in my library databases on my campus. It takes a lot of time, but it's really like a hobby. And I actually told a student that once, and they wrote back to me on their final message to me at the end of the semester. I think it's really cool that that's a hobby for you because I really like the videos. So make it a hobby for yourself. It is kind of fun to try and find good stuff. But creating your own, I showed you how to do if you want to make your own stuff too. Journals and the self-reflections, I'm not going to read through all this, but each semester this is the self-reflection I asked them to do where they can discuss what they've done so far in the class, time management, your plans for the rest of the class, your strengths as a student, and then what have you been learning. And I asked them to write that to me or make a little video about it, which is always an option for some of these assignments. So they didn't rate the reflections or the journals or the self-reflections as highly, but I like them because I figure out what's going on with them. And I think it makes them a little bit more like connected with their own learning and stuff. Yes, it's worth like half of what a major assignment would be.
Did you find that all or most of them did it?
Yes. Yeah, because it was worth points. And I always offer them, for this assignment in particular, that they can just make a 5-minute max video and talk to me about this. And every semester, there's usually like at least 1 or 2 who do the video instead. And you can do that with a lot of assignments, probably. This one I think is great because they're talking about themselves, so they're more likely to want to make a video about it. So finding ways for them to talk to you, I think, reaches out to them more as well and connects with them. So other reflective prompts, like the first week, I'll just ask them how they're feeling about getting settled in their journal. You know, write me a journal entry about this. What's your own journey going to be? What are you hoping to get out of the class? You can do all kinds of things. Talk about a particular assignment with them. I do that. How they're applying the course information, just checking in mid-semester, asking them to do some individual research that they're not sharing with everyone about whatever you're doing, final thoughts on the class. There's lots of ways you can have them journal and reflect, which is a great way, I think, to connect with them. So then this is where I say, you give me a URL to your video and I'll watch it as a video, you know, instead of as a text for some of these reflective assignments. And they like I said, some people take me up on that, and they make really great videos. And I get to see where they are, and it's kind of fun. They get to see where I am sometimes because I make videos, right? Other things I think help them, which aren't necessarily about connecting with them, but help them maybe just connect with the course better and know what's going on, is Blackboard gives you an option to let them mark reviewed something when they're finished with it, and they use it as like a checklist for themselves. Students have told me it's like a lifesaver for them because then they know what they finished and what they didn't finish, what they have to go back and do. So it shows up at the end of whatever it is as a little button that says mark reviewed, and they love it. Yes. Yep. As it just on the chevron that you pull down next to the item, it's an option of set review status or something like that. I think is what it's called. Yeah. Mark reviewed. They love it because they were asking me to make checklists each week. So this was years ago. I emailed the IT person. They said, oh, you can just like make a mark reviewed button for everything you do in that class. I said, great. So I do. And they love it. They just find it so helpful. The ones who use it. The other things, which somebody talked about in a session yesterday, is I do mass emails, but I individualize them. I type the same email, and I just type their name and send it to them as an individual. It takes me, I don't know, 15 minutes instead of 15 seconds, right, to do it. But I just wanted to show you this. This is an example. Every time I send an email to an individual student, it copies into my inbox in my email at work, right? So this is, it goes way below this, long, 40-something. And then look at all the responses that came in immediately after. I just deleted them all after I finished them. It was like right away. They were responding to my mid-semester check-in, So the conversations were like instant through those individual emails I sent. It's the same email, but to each person individually. And they respond. So that's just a way to reach students that you can do. It takes, like I said, 15 minutes instead of 15 seconds. But yep. So I literally just send email to each individual student through the LMS, and that's it. I just one student at a time, copy paste, right? Dear so and so. It's worth it, I think. You could use something like MailChimp if you are allowed, or you can get their permission for you to put their emails into MailChimp, where it will already automatically do that for you and send out an individual email that says dear so-and-so with the fields and stuff. But that's probably more work even than just doing it. Like I said, it's like 15 minutes. And to me, it's very worth it. Because look at how many people wrote me back immediately. I mean, some of these are repeat people. You can tell from the length of the name or whatever. But it's right away. I think organization they've talked about too, and I wanted to just comment on it. So every module, each week, everything can be found inside one link. That's it. This is on my home page. And so the week 1 shows up. The next week, week 2 shows up, and it's above it, week 3. And so the most important week is at the top always. And everything they need to do is in there for the week. They honestly never have to go anywhere else in the class. They could finish the class every week just by going in here, because I link to everything else they need to do. I just create course links, and I think it helps them a lot. But I do have items on the side for Turn-It-In work in case they want to go back and look at a paper that was in week 2 and they don't remember it was in week 2. They can go directly to Turn-It-In, or they can go directly to discussion board. I do that, because sometimes you just want to go right to the discussion board. But they never have to. They could just finish their week and move on, never revisit it again, and go to the next and go to the next. So I release these each week. They're not always all up there, but I leave them up the old weeks for the students too. On the home page, the minute they log in, that's all they see is here. Here's the learning module. Yep, perfect. So here's, I also put direct links in the sidebar to email with me or chat with me. So they can use Blackboard IM and chat with me. And what I'll do oftentimes is tell them, hey, guess what? I'm going to be online for the next 3 hours. I got something to do. So if you're online between 5 and 8, pop in, email me, say hi in Blackboard IM. I'm logged on. And I'll do that just on a whim, and students will stop by. So I think that helps, because it's right in the side. They know how to do that.
Elaborate a little bit more on the Blackboard IM tool in terms of the classes you can.
It's basically like Blackboard IM is like a chat tool or instant messaging tool. You have to download it and create an account for it, so some students don't. But it's when you log in, the students are there on the side. You can just chat with them in real time, just like they're doing in the Confer session on the text box. You just type back and forth to each other. And they can actually, students can talk to each other if they're in the same class too, which is nice.
So I guess my question is, do you see that the community being fostered in?
Yes, for some students, yes. I definitely connect more with some of the students this way, because they'll see me online and just be like, about almost anything. Oh, remember you said you hike? Because I'll talk about myself in my introduction sometimes, and I love hiking. Have you ever been on this hike? Even things like that, because they see me online. I'm okay with it as long as it doesn't go on for like 5 hours like that, right? Of course. But it connects with them, and they love it. Or just, oh, I'm so glad I saw you online. I had a question about work even, or whatever. Did you have a question? Okay. You're welcome. We just have a couple more minutes, and there's not much left. Look into your campus to see what kinds of support they have, and make a direct link, like Writing Center. I have a direct link to that because they were piloting the online Writing Center. Or tutorials. Make direct links to that helps connect them to what will help them succeed. Not so much more connecting with me, but gets them help. Oh, and the student lounge and question and answers, that does help a lot, I think, too. So that's it. It gives us about 5 more. I think this ends at 1:35. So it gives us about 5 minutes to see if you have any questions at the end. Actually, I kind of rushed through that last thing. I did want to mention questions and answers. I was just talking with a colleague here yesterday. I downloaded the Blackboard app on my phone, so I've kind of trained them. I don't have my email synced into my phone, but on the weekends to put all their questions in the Q&A board unless it's really personal, because it's really easy for me to just click on the app and see the questions and type back real quick. But logging into email I don't want to do, because then there's lots of other stuff that goes on with that, right? But I can just check in my class real quick. I mean, I check my email on the weekends too, we all do, but if I'm at a football game, I could do that during, halftime and get a lot done. Seriously, it's true, right? If you're watching something or whatever, and answer a question real quick on the weekend when they do have a lot of issues pop up. So I've taught them to use the Q&A board a lot, and they help each other as well there. But it helps me connect with them quickly. And remember, instructor response time was rated as very important. So whatever you can do to get that instructor response time up is, I think, really important. Because they say, like, I can't believe you wrote me back so quickly. Well, I try to check a couple times a day if I am teaching an online class, especially short session, right? So.
To show that they're attending.
Yes.
And I just added post a question question to the question mark.
Yes.
They really know where it is, and see so they stop sending the same question
Yes.
over. And they
That's a great idea.
with each other. Like,
Right.
if it's a question, where's it, how much was it? Somebody else
Will answer.
And then you start having a few together now.
So for the people online, she was saying that she actually requires them to post a question in the question board for the first week, which is a great idea. I mean, that's really cool because then they know where it is and that they can help each other. Some instructors give extra credit for people who respond back and things like that too, but I don't know. You can figure out what you want to do. So this is what I talked about today, and I'm just going to show you at the very end, there's a list of all the resources I mentioned with links and URLs and the full article references and video references. So you can download it and get all of this, but there's still about 5 minutes if anyone has more questions or comments. Thanks for participating too, because it helps. Any other thoughts or questions on reaching more students? Yes?
I would just add, when you have links to school services,
Yes.
students of libraries.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was going to say for the, my lecture that I use this soft talk program. I don't know if anybody else uses
No, soft talk
it.
for lecture notes.
Like basically you can take a Word document, copy it over with a few minor things, you set it up in
Beautiful document. Soft talk. Thank you for the tip.
It actually will have like basically a summary page that says you can find such and such on this page.
Yes.
Click on it.
This workshop, these workshops have been so great. I was just thinking about something I learned yesterday, and at the very end of the day in the roundtable, and how I always schedule in office hours around the first week because I know they're going to have issues, right? So as a part-time faculty, I do a few, but I don't have them every week. But instead of calling it office hours, I'm going to call it meet and greet. It is simple. Just reframing even what you call it may get more people to come. Like, hey, come meet each other and me, and we'll just talk and hang out for a little bit. Because I've had students who wanted just to stop in on you know, CCC, Confer, whatever, just to see how it works. And like, oh, I get to talk to you and see you. And they really do like the connection and connecting with faculty. So just finding those simple ways to do it. And these are just some. There's so many more ways that you can connect with students. Making it personal. And those are all things that we talked about yesterday in a lot of these sessions and you've been hearing. But just tell a little bit about yourself. You don't have to say your whole life story, right? But like I said, I share that I like hiking. And then that opens things up. Or you know, I just did a 5K. Oh, I was in that one too. Whatever. It's anything that you feel comfortable sharing. I mean, that one you can just Google my name and it probably comes up in the results, right? So it's not like private anyway. But you know, thinking of ways to just connect with them and with the material and get excited. I didn't go over anything really like. This is all pretty much free stuff that you can do, simple, built in. You can use Twitter. I'm starting to use that more, and you can use Facebook. You can use a lot of those things too if you want. But I don't know, I feel pretty good about the responses the students were giving about what helps them connect with the class and the material and each other and me as an instructor and reaching out to them and getting them to get through. So, yes? Soft chalk to do lecture notes. Okay, SOFTCHAULK for those of you who are online. That's great. Or just ALK. Okay. Soft and chalk. No, without the U. It was like some European version or something. Chalk. Yeah. I'm excited about that. Thank you so much. If you have more questions or if you want to know more about the program for online teaching, I have business cards, have the link on it too, and we'd love to have you involved. And I'm not here to promote the program, but it is cool because we can continue these discussions there, you know, and it's just another free opportunity to learn more and connect, or relatively free, at least you could say. Yeah, I think there's a way. I could put my email there. I could give you my card too if you'd like. So, thank you.